silent and smile.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to 19 Days of Juneteenth with the Northeast Georgia Business Alliance. I'm Michelle Pearson, and tonight is Wednesday, Juneteenth, and it's Wealth Building Wednesday. So this evening we have Dr. Shanice Allen of Innovative Healthcare Institute here in Athens, Georgia. So as we dive in, I always give my disclaimers that we are not experts in this space. Dr. Allen probably is more so than me, but you are just joining us having some girl talk. So welcome to our living room, and you just happen to be a fly on the wall. So we welcome you as we get into Wealth Building Wednesday with Dr. Shanice Allen for 19 Days of Juneteenth with the Northeast Georgia Business Alliance. As always, you can join us any day of the week. Check out our full schedule at NEGA, that's Northeast Georgia acronym, negabusinessalliance.org. Click on the events tab and you'll see Juneteenth. You'll have the full schedule there. So we're going to dive right in and say welcome, 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 Dr. Allen. How are you?
I'm doing great, and thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you. So as we dive in and talk about Wealth Building Wednesday, but let's start off and just give us an insight clip for folks who don't know, what is Innovative Healthcare Institute?
Okay. Well, Innovative Healthcare Institute, we are a healthcare training school. We provide certificate healthcare training in patient care tech, EKG, phlebotomy. And we also provide CNA, basic life support, which is BLS, ACLS, which is advanced cardiac life support, and first aid training and bloodborne pathogen training. We do a lot of stuff under our roof. So, but basically, the majority of it is centered around entry-level healthcare training.
Gotcha. So I have to be, I'm very transparent, and everybody who knows me knows that I just say how it is. So full disclaimer, I have to say the one thing that I always joke when I go to my doctors, I tell them, I speak nothing medical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I ask a question that's remedial, it's because I speak nothing medical. People always joke because in the financial world, we have our own language. I'm like, that I got you. I got you. But you start talking financial, my question, usually my doctor's like, do I need a pill or no? Am I going to live or die? Like, I'm that basic level. I can't tell you what they said. I was like, she said I'm good, or she said I need to do this. So that's usually, so if I ask a remedial question, it's for me. I promise you.
No
so
problem.
I'm glad to hear that there's so many different training areas that Innovative Healthcare Institute offers. Tell me, why is that really important? Do we need so many?
Yeah, we do. Healthcare is a growing area. When people think of healthcare, they think of just the doctor and the patient. There's so much more to that. When I went to nursing school, because I'm a nurse by trade, did, gosh, I don't want to tell my age, but like 45 years. No.
You were 10
years.
when you started. You were 10.
15, yeah, I was 10 when I started, but 15 years of critical care background. So when I entered nursing, I didn't even realize that labor and delivery was what it was. I didn't even know you go to a hospital. I didn't know any of that. So when I entered nursing, I learned that it was such bigger and healthcare was so much broader than what we were truly introduced to. So there are so many areas that need good qualified people, and it's a great career, and it's an entry level, so there is always room for growth. So yes, we need all those areas, and we need people so that we can get things done in healthcare that you don't even think about needing to be done.
Do I need any special background or qualifications to join? Like, what what's the prerequisite for me saying, you know what, I think there's an area I want to go into? What would I do? What do I need?
Have the drive to want to do it.
Okay.
That's
I
it.
got that. I can do that.
Yeah, people think that you have to have that some type of background to even go into healthcare, but like I said before, we are entry level. So it pretty much, I always recommend if anyone wants to get into nursing or anything medical, physical therapist or whatnot, you need to get into an entry level certificate program so that you'll learn the foundation and see if you're exposed to a lot of different things and see if that's what you really want to do. And I'll tell you, my first day on the job as a nurse, I passed right on out with a sight of blood. I
Really?
did. Oh, yeah. Passed, boom. They was like,
So,
"You're a nurse?" I am.
Right. Yeah, so I know I have to hear the story. How did you go through medical school and then all of a sudden blood on the first day get you?
I guess when we were kind of like sheltered in our program, so I didn't have the opportunity to actually see blood or actually see let's see, I remember my actually first day I passed out was with because my first job out of nursing school was working labor and delivery at Northside Hospital in Atlanta. So that was the baby factory of the South. So going in, and the anesthesiologist was putting in a epidural. Man, I didn't even see blood with that. All I heard was the curt, and I was like, bam. But yeah, going through nursing school, a lot of things now are simulated. So you don't necessarily get that experience now. We were probably back in the day, because I finished nursing school about 21 years ago. So back in the day, you were in the facility, but not necessarily truly hands-on, seeing all the gooey stuff. But yeah, getting out there working, you pass right on out. It's like, nurse down. Yeah, that was me.
They got a code, nurse down. I love it. Yeah. So let me ask you this, because, I heard you say something that I think is really critical for people who are thinking about any career path, is that they should actually get out there and kind of just dip your toe in the water, so to speak, before you go full-fledged in. I was pre-law, I went to school, did that internship. I said, ooh, no, probably not for me. And so here I am, I went through a business major program. So if someone is saying, you know what, I think I may want to do this, which certificate program would you recommend they start with?
I truly recommend with the CNA, because the CNA is the true foundation of nursing. With a lot of the nursing programs and medical programs out there now, they've changed the curriculum. So a lot of the stuff is outside. You got to come into their program with a little of something. You're not getting everything in the programs. So with the CNA, you get the foundation, you get 72 nursing skills. You learn how to talk to a patient. You learn all the bedside manner and all those good things, but you learn how to take blood pressures, why it's important to take blood pressure, how you give a bath to a person. Because, I also am an adjunct faculty at Augusta University. So I work with junior, and senior nursing students, and those that don't have any type of background, CNA especially, you can tell they struggle.
Wow.
They struggle with those things. So I always tell anyone, if you're interested, even going to medical school, take the CNA program, because you're going to learn a lot of information, and it's something that you can build on. One of my instructors from a phlebotomy program was getting his master's in nursing through an entry-level program. He had another background, which was in science, and wanted to go into nursing. Instead of getting a bachelor's, he was able to get a master's in nursing, but entry. So every day he would come to our CNA class. He's like, man, we learned the same thing in class, but y'all really are teaching it. I have to come over here to learn it, because we don't really get all of that. But yeah, so people don't underestimate the CNA until you're in it and understand how valuable position the education is. Yeah.
Isn't that like most positions though? The entry level workers do the real work, the hard work.
The real work. I'm not gonna lie to you. They do, CNAs do all the work, majority. Your nurses are doing med pass. and the CNAs are taking care of the families, taking care of the patients, and all their daily needs. So they're basically doing the assessment. So I always tell a really good CNA, you really need to go ahead and consider going to nursing school. You're already doing the work, you know the information, just go ahead. So I try to walk my students that way.
Right, and get to pay for it. You're doing it, like you
Exactly,
said.
you're
I
doing
love
it.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. So let me ask you this: if I was to go through the CNA program, I now have my certificate. Who is hiring me?
Well, right now,
Yeah.
the hospitals aren't hiring. I'm not even
Right.
gonna joke. They're not.
Mhm.
Everybody's on a freeze. People are getting furloughed. It's like unheard of. But there are still places that hire CNAs. You have home healthcare agencies. I had
Mhm.
a home healthcare agency called 2 days ago to
Mhm.
say they were getting a recommendation from one of my students. And
Oh, cool.
so the student then called back and said, "Thank you, Dr. Allen. They hired me at $14 an hour." Full time.
Wow.
I'm like, that's what's up. That's great.
In the
So
middle of COVID, when the hospitals are not hiring.
exactly. When the hospitals are not hiring, home health care, but home health care is great. But they hire, you have nursing homes that are hiring right now. And a
Mm.
lot of people, you have to think about it. A lot of people are going to be doing things differently. They're right now keeping their family and
Mhm.
loved ones at home. So they're going to need that extra help. So home health cares, those type of sectors, nursing homes, assisted living. Had another CNA call today that she got hired at an assisted living here in town. So she
Wow.
was excited about that, paying pretty good too. So,
Nice.
but yeah,
Good.
hospitals, not so much right now.
Right. Which makes
Yeah.
sense in this environment. But I will say this with healthcare workers, and I read a lot, but with healthcare workers being essential through this the COVID whole epidemic, right? And I say that for as an essential employee myself, is that we haven't had a break. at
Mhm.
some point, at some point, they're going to have to take a break. The hospitals are going to have to start back hiring because they're going to need to cover that staff. And this is just for the people who've remained healthy through that. I'm not even talking about the population of healthcare workers who've gotten sick, who've passed away during this COVID epidemic. So we're at some point, it will catch up. And
Oh,
so this is the time to get the training now so that you're prepared, right?
exactly. Because it will open up because you're going to have people that have been, like you just said, been working constantly around the clock. You know what? They're going to be fed up. They're not going to want to do healthcare anymore. It's going to be a bunch of them that's going to be leaving.
Yeah,
It's going to be
that
people
is
that's going to be
true.
retiring. But and you have people that started and it's like, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. I'm kind of done. I'm burnt out. So we were already preparing for people leaving because we were
Right.
at a true detrimental shortage in
Mm,
healthcare. And now it is going to be much worse.
gotcha.
So this is a great time to get into a entry level program to get your certification. Great thing about it, you're not spending a lot of money. Come to Innovative, we try to work to find resources out there for you to get your training so you're not getting into debt or whatnot. But this is a perfect time to get that done.
Cool. And so I'll use this opportunity as a commercial plug for you, and I'll ask the question. If I say, yes, I'm ready to sign up, where do I go? How do I sign up for Innovative Healthcare Institute today? How would I do that?
Okay, you can go to our website, which is www.ihci411.com, and you can become a member, inbox to get an appointment to come and talk with us, or you can
Cool.
text us through the our web page. You can go to Facebook,
Cool.
set up an appointment with us. But what I will tell you when we make that contact is we have to have your social security card, driver's license, a background
Mm,
check, which we have to review because in healthcare, we can't have people that have felonies.
yeah.
So we have to make
Yes,
sure
ma'am.
that we are looking at the background check. You can't have pretty much trust crimes is what we're
Gotcha.
kind
Yeah.
of felonies and trust crimes.
Mhm.
And then we need a drug screen. And now what we've instituted is that we have to have a COVID-19 test. So we have to
Mm,
have a negative COVID-19 test within a week before you start our program.
gotcha.
So that gets you through the door, fill out the application, you have an interview when you come in, and then we talk with you about funding, which
Mm,
now a lot of people that are unemployed, They qualify for WIOA, and we are a vendor with the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. You go to the Department of Labor, which now you can do that online. And if you qualify, which you should, and if the funds are available, then you can get payment for your courses through that way. And if not, we just received a nice grant from I just forgot the name of the grant. I'll tell you in a moment. But anyway.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah, look,
The
we're gonna remember the free
Ashton
money.
Hope Keegan Foundation. I'm
Ah.
sorry. The Ashton Hope Keegan Foundation
Yes.
gave us a grant for CNA training. So we're excited
Awesome.
about that. And it's for women that are interested in taking CNA courses. So we just got that information yesterday. We're excited about it, and they support us. They gave us a small grant back in November to purchase books and supplies for our students as well. So
That's
we
awesome.
work because our population is just a little different. Our students don't necessarily have the funds to pay for our program. So innovative, we have to be creative and collective to get resources so that we can assist those students for that. And so some of our students are able to pay, but a large amount of them, they don't have any means of paying.
But what I also hear you saying then, if those are some of your students are kind of, that's the majority of your students coming through that are in a financial hardship where they may not be able to afford the program. But I also heard you say is that once they leave, they're in a different economic state because now they're hired at usually a higher rate, more so than minimum wage. So you truly are kind of a facet here with part of this economic development cog that is happening. And again, in an industry that continues to grow and thrive. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So last year, our students, they went from unemployed to employed, full-time employment. They put about $2 million back into Clark County.
Wow. Just Clark County. Wow.
Just in Clark County.
That is awesome.
when we talk about economic development, when I'm always hashtag economic development, that's what we're talking about. We're moving people from poverty to prosperity. That's our goal.
Gotcha. I love that.
So when they come in, they have to want to work. That's the only thing. I have to make sure that you want to gain full-time employment. That's one of our big things.
So, which rightfully so, I completely understand it because your institution is on the line, so I can respect that. Let me ask you this and kind of pivot a little bit then, because this is Wealth Building Wednesday, and you just gave us a huge piece of that. You as a business owner, what was one of the hurdles that you saw starting Innovative Healthcare Institute?
Well, I'll say this. I was in my way for a long time. Seriously. I knew that I wanted the program. I knew that I needed it. And so I had worked that we needed it. So I had worked so hard to get the approval through the state. And with that, I did not have the luxury of having a money tree in my backyard. So I had to work, and I did not have any loans to go into the business. So I had, let me see, I guess I had the building for about 5-6 years before I really got up and running, because here in Athens, well, at that particular time, it was so hard to find a location that wasn't too expensive. So I had to be able to maintain the rent, the lights, all the utilities while working my full-time job and maintaining my household and my, all my needs as well. So with that, and just being a little scared to just step out there. But I just had to make that commitment because I knew that is something that I truly wanted to do. So once I secured the location, worked, got everything approved, everything, the school was ready. It wasn't until I got a notice from the state that said, if you don't have a student through, we're going to make you inactive. And I'm like, oh goodness, oh Jesus, I worked too hard for that. And so I had to go ahead and just step out on faith. I knew that God had brought me too far to let me lose my school. And so I had decided I was working full-time executive nursing and having classes in the evening. And something just happened. The good Lord worked it out. My job was no longer available. And I was like, oh goodness, well, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And my mom said, you got a whole school over there. What are you talking about? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. So walked right into it, and I'm had to knock on wood. Everything's been great. It has been a struggle. I won't
Oh
say it
yeah.
hadn't been a struggle. It has, but I just put my faith and my trust in God. I tell you, one time, I mean, when I put everything in in this school, I put everything. I
Yes.
didn't have a loan to open it, to buy my equipment or anything initially. Now, I do have a small revolving loan with the city right now, which I'm grateful to have that. But initially, it was nothing. But I remember having access, like literally just what I could get my hands on. I
Mhm.
only had 17 cents left in the bank. One
Wow.
seven. And I am a very
Wow.
independent person. I'm private. I'm not gonna ask my family for anything if I don't
Right.
have to.
Right.
And I just prayed to God because I knew that He had take care of everything that I needed. I never lost anything. I never went without anything. And I went to the mailbox and it was a $25,000 check in the mail. I said,
Ooh.
God is amazing. And from that point, all I say is, but God, and He
Yes.
will. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and I will co-sign that with you. And some people know this about me, some don't. So my family, we used to have Phase One Cosmetology Institute on Hawthorne. And so I know the stresses of having a school. Now, granted, again, another skill that I'm not good at, I can do a whole lot of stuff to your hair. I can shampoo you, I can color you. Don't ask me to cut your hair. Don't ask me to make it look like this picture, right? That's not my thing. That's my Aunt Carolyn. That's her area. And so we were in business. So it was my Aunt Carolyn, who was truly the face, the person. My mom did a lot of the basic counting, the bookkeeping side of things, and my role was keeping us accredited in all the state stuff. So you know what that all the paperwork. That's where I lived at, and I did this while I was working another full time job. And this
Wow.
was me being a part of my Aunt Carolyn's dream, because again, that was not my dream. That was my Aunt Carolyn's dream, and we made it a family affair. So, and we ran that school for 10 years. Um, yeah, with students, the whole nine, running a floor. So I
Awesome.
understand and respect and even relate to the prayers and the blessings that come along with that work. The one thing that I think people probably discount is that, and I don't even know if they caught that, what you said, you have been planning along and doing so many other things and moving so many other pieces, doing a lot of hard work behind the scenes. If you were to, when you look back now and you say, how in the world did I spend that much time? What's probably the biggest thing that you're like, how did I do this? How? What's your biggest shock?
My biggest shock is like right now.
Mhm.
Um, well, I'll say this, like sitting at the school now we've been closed for 3 months, so we're just
Mhm.
now getting open. So just sitting there and looking at everything and just like, wow, I just can't believe that all that hard work, staying up late, doing this, making sacrifices. I'm right here, like, wow. It's just, it's hard to believe.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just, it's hard. But I always, I would, I remember someone saying, you can be anything you want to be, you can do anything you want to do, and you can have anything you want. And I know, and I will always say that mantra. I will always say that I can have anything I want, I can be anything and do whatever it is. And so when I hear people say, oh, she got a little school, you want to hear me like a little, that's something that just irritates me, because I'm like, you have no idea what it took to get to where I am. And
Right.
I'm like, people kind of like blow you off or whatever. But I've learned to not worry about that. I don't have to shout it from the mountaintop. It'll come, you'll figure it out, you
Yeah,
know.
I
But
can definitely relate and echo that. As I look, I always say I'm sitting here in my second house now, because the lease payment for my office is more than my mortgage. Okay, so I'm just saying, and so I can agree with you and understand that sometimes as a black woman, especially, and I say that purposely because sometimes it's even black men that do it. That they say things that are somewhat belittling, and you're like, Did they just say, wait, what? And as if what I'm doing, how I'm moving and how I'm operating this space is less than. And it's funny because when I look at it on paper, I'm like, no, I'm keeping up with the best of them. I'm navigating, you know.
Good. Don't you see that outside? I'm real good.
Right.
What you said about the men. So I was in this little group, right?
Uh-huh.
And so, that everybody tell a little bit about themselves. So we had a little meeting at my little space. And so he came in, he's like, oh, you got a school? Oh, okay. So this your school? Uh-huh. It's yours. Yeah, it's mine. So then one of the friends said, so-and-so was like, he still asked, was this your school? Did you know? I'm like, sometimes people just don't understand.
Yeah.
But I'm like, just come to my space. Then you will understand. So then you can call it little if you want to, but just come on over.
I
Come to
get the same
100.
thing, and it's funny. And again, I've had this with black, white, and mostly men usually. But they will come to my office, and it says Edward Jones and then Michelle K. Pearson, right? And yes, my Michelle has one L in it, but they were like, "Is Michael here?" And oddly enough, so here's another thing that we find amusing. I say we, I'm talking about me and my assistant find amusing. So yes, my assistant is a white woman, and her name is Becky. So we crack about it, right? You can't help but it's like we wrote a story, right? So, yes, love Becky. I mean, we do, and so we always joke because she'll, even when the people come in and leave or say something, she's like, "Let me say what they told me," and so we get a kick out of it. The fact that sometimes they think that it's Michael, not Michelle, because surely a woman's not a financial advisor, right?
With
surely.
her own stuff with her name up there.
Right, but I've even had like older black men when they come to my office, they be like, "So that's your assistant?" And they're whispering in my office, "That's your assistant talking about Becky." And so I'm like, "Yes, Becky. We work together. That's my teammate. We good." And I call her my office manager because she does. She keeps me moving, right? But it's funny that the impression is that, how do you do that? Like it's a trick, and it's like I worked hard, and we did it, right? We worked really hard, so I can relate.
Yes. It's so funny to me, but yeah.
So I say kudos to you because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of moving parts. If you were able to clone yourself and say, if I had a person who they just focused on this, what area would you say, gosh, if I could have somebody to do that area, that would help me out a lot?
If I had myself, if I could clone myself.
Yep, clone yourself.
I guess to be the face and just to do all the callbacks, the cold calls and stuff, and be that, going to the meetings and all that stuff. I can't.
Gotcha.
It's just too much. So if I had someone else, me, to do that, it'd be great. Because it takes a lot to get your business out there. You're going to have to remove yourself from the physical location and go to places and, the 8, 9, 10 o'clock meetings and 2 o'clock meetings and all that stuff. Yeah, if I had myself to do that, I would, because that's a lot, but I know that it's needed.
I hope that other people listening pick up that jewel you just put down, because the one thing, here's what you really said is that if you build it, they will come is really a myth. You have to build it, tell them about it, get out there and talk about it, then they'll come. But it's not just a magical formula of build it, then they'll come. That's not how that works. So I hope everybody pick that jewel up. Let me shift gears a little bit, because you as a Black woman in healthcare, because like you said, by profession, by trade, you're a nurse. And I hear all the time about the different disparities in healthcare for Black women. What do you see in that space, or do you?
Oh, I do. It is, I'll say this, being a strong woman, people confuse it with, you got it all together, you know what's going on, so we don't really need to kind of see about you. I see that sometimes. I saw it with my own healthcare. I would go to the doctor and he would be like, "Oh, well, you know all that." So, and I'm like, "Really, dude? Can I get a physical? Can you ask me those questions? Can you do what I think everybody else needs?" And so, and I think that that happens. And then you have the maternal death, Black women dying. But
Yes.
did you know that the Black women that are dying in the fetal death are from the socioeconomic successful Black women? What?
Let's talk about this. Wait now. And typically that means I have health insurance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I go to my doctor, who I've probably seen for several years, if not a decade or more, because we typically, you find a good doctor, you stay in that space. That's just human nature. That's how we operate. And at this point, I'm still more likely to pass away from giving birth to a child. What's the disconnect?
Oh, we're going to add your educational level,
Right,
not just
right.
social, but your
Yeah.
education. So the doctorate level Black woman, if it was me.
So you're talking about me. I got a master's degree.
I'm just saying, yes, I just want to make sure that
Wow.
everyone understands that.
Wow.
Because people are like, what? Yeah, so I'm just breaking it down a little bit more so that you understand. Yes, you, me, them, we gonna die. We are high risk of dying, but we're not going to. But we are very high risk. Why? They don't know yet. They don't know. But I can tell
what?
from experience.
And I think about Serena Williams.
Used to treat me, so I had to go doctor shopping and find me one that I felt that would still ask me the questions and take good care of me. Look at my labs, order my labs, and make sure, well, Shanice, are you doing this? Let's talk about your diet. Let's talk about that weight.
Right.
Want to have those harsh questions, have that harsh interview with me and truly care about me as a woman and me as an African American woman. That's hard to find a physician like that. So I had to break away from my physician that I had for years because I truly felt, I have hypertension because I'm chronic stress. I ain't gonna lie.
Yes, Lord.
And I just felt like he wasn't doing it for me. He just did not. I just felt like I was just there. Here, take this, go ahead. You know what to do about yourself.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I do, but sometimes I need a reminder. Can I be the patient?
Right, right. Well, text me your doctor because she's not retiring, and I'll give a shout out Dr. Mary Bond. She's actually transitioning to going to full-time teaching. She's already been part-time teaching the past couple of years and is going full-time now, so I will be back on the doctor search. So text me your doctor, please.
Dr. Shakuri, I sure will.
Okay.
She is amazing. Amazing. I sure will. I'll text her information.
Please do.
But I have to just shop around and make sure because we are dying at an alarming rate. We got different stressors. We got social, economic issues that are embedded in our society. Heck, our blood pressure is high just because of what's been going on this past 2 weeks.
Yes, Lord. I was just going to say, talk about that.
Because we might have a Black son, a Black husband, a Black brother. I need someone that understands that and that can take care of me and understand my socioeconomic issues that's going on that's related to my health.
So as you talk about that, because, I'm sitting here, I started counting. I said, okay, I got 5 Black brothers. I have 2 Black dads, a Black fiance, and his dad, and his brother. So the numbers are starting to multiply, right, as we're sitting here. And I think, I remember when I worked with the Heart Association, we had the Athens Oconee group, that heart issues were the leading cause of death in women in general. So I see why, especially in Black women, outside of it beats cancer. We always talk about breast cancer, not that cancer does not have its rightful place. So I think it's a strong number 2, but this is probably why. What are some things that you would say in your professional opinion that is Black women and just Black people in general, because we see our Black men dealing with some of these same issues when we talk about heart disease and strokes and diabetes? What are some things in that you would say, y'all, here's some things to look out for, the questions to ask? What are some things, because again, I'm medical illiterate. So what will you tell me when I'm going to my doctor? What questions should I be asking?
Well, not just questions you should be asking, but before you get there, you need to take a hard look at yourself. Because the thing is, when you go to the doctor, sometimes you don't necessarily tell the truth or you kind of hide some things. You need to start look at yourself. It's called self-reflection. Okay. be truthful, be honest to the things that you're dealing with, because your provider is not going to know unless you tell them. You have to have a provider that you have an amazing relationship with, so you can be cold, hard, honest, and truthful, so that they can truly take care of you. But then again, you got to have that provider that wants to take care of you.
Yes.
But as an African American woman, we have to understand that stress, like I said, I'm allergic to, and I have chronic stress. And what that does, and understands what it does to our bodies, it can cause us to have headaches, hypertension, back pain, irritable bowel syndrome.
Wow.
So we have to understand that, so that when we get to the doctor, we can be open and honest about, what my social determinants of my health are. I have issues. I can't pay my light bill. Okay, so you need to know. Not. I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a good stressor.
And honest with your provider, so that they can look and see and talk to you about that, so that they'll know, hey, you might need to think about doing this, or can we connect you with this, or let's look at this blood pressure, doing some true education. But we got to be honest with ourselves about what is going on in our lives, so that we know, I'm stressed out because of this. What is that going to do to me? I'm going to be munching. I'm going to be eating and drinking Dr. Pepper and eating cookie dough and Mayfield ice cream. Okay, so I do that. So I know that that is not the right thing to do. But I need to be honest to my doctor, so that if she's doing a hemoglobin A1C and my hemoglobin A1C is 7, well, I don't know why they're 7. I don't know. I've been doing, no, you ain't. You've been eating this, that, and the other. We got to be honest when we go to these places too.
Oh, yes. But when you said that even about the light bill, I was just thinking, I was like, you know what? And this is for my financial brain, because, and I always, tell my clients, and I always joke around that I'm like your financial doctor. You got to be really transparent with me, right? But I see some of those behaviors manifest themselves in what we do with our money. And whether or not, you can or cannot pay your light bill, let's be very clear, with clients that have money, they end up shopping more. They end up, so we self-medicate. That's where I was getting at. We end up finding ways to self-medicate because of all the other stresses that we take on. And we just tie it to, well, I deserve a reward. Instead of saying, wait, I actually really am stressed out. Something's going on.
And that internalizes into your body. That causes more stress on your body. Your blood pressure is going to go up, cholesterol, inflammation, all of these things happen to us. But I think the number one thing that we have to understand is everything's related, and we have to find other outlets. And as African American women, we need to learn how to say no. We need to learn how to take care of ourselves. Self-care is very important, even if it's just taking a moment, sitting down and relaxing. If it's just 5 or 10 minutes a day, self-reflection helps. But we have to learn to be open and honest with our healthcare providers too.
Yes, and I'll use this as an opportunity to take even a commercial break for the Northeast Georgia Business Alliance and that rest of our 19 days of Juneteenth, right? It is by design that you are on here today with Wealth Building Wednesday, talking about true healthcare in the sense of our physical body. Tomorrow with Thrive Thursday, we'll have Robert Tucker on talking about even depression issues and several things that from generational practices of that stress that we carry, right? And just ways that we can overcome that. We'll have Dr. Joan Collier on Friday with Figured Out Friday, talking about, it's Dear White People. How do you have some of these hard conversations? And how do you navigate that? And sometimes how do you not have those conversations and navigate it? She's going to give us some great phraseology too, because I love talking with Joan, because I always like, ooh, that's a good way to say it, because I was saying it real nasty. You sound real nice, nasty. I like it. And then, and then on Saturday, we're going to round out the week with Celeste Ngeve, and she's going to be talking about different self-care practices that we can take on. And I'll say that I personally spend time with Celeste each month talking about, girl, this is what I got going on. Right now, my thighs are on fire because she has me doing 100 squats a day. And I'm doing my desk stands, right? My desk stands. So I'm doing this in the middle of the day because I'm trying to figure out, how do I work it in? And so you're absolutely correct. It's how do I let go of some of this stress because my body internalizes it, which turns into heart issues and turns into, and some people even turns into, this is what cancer. And we have, fibroids. I hear people talking about that all the time. And like you said,
Yes.
that may be what's going on. We're talking about premature deliveries. That stress manifests itself down that road
Yeah.
too, right?
And people don't understand what hypertension, stress will cause hypertension. And if you have hypertension, I mean, I don't want to say it too mean, but hypertension can
If you're just
increase
talking
your
to me,
risk.
it's girl talk. You can be mean to me. It's okay.
Hypertension increase your risk of Alzheimer's.
Mm.
Yeah. So we really need to make sure that we manage all those outlets and different things, because it all is internalized and it causes issue and havoc on your body right now and long term, as we look at Alzheimer's as being, down the road.
You just tied a knot together for me, because our Edward Jones office, we are a big proponent. We do the Alzheimer's walk every year. We coordinate it for our region here at Edward Jones. And I saw a sign last October, and it said that Black women has the highest number of increase in cases of Alzheimer's, right? And you just said that, and I was like, oh, so it goes back to the stress and the healthcare things. So yeah, you just made a connection for me that I didn't realize why. Gosh, I gotta get my life together.
Look, I'm saying this, but I gotta get my life together too, honey. Yeah. I am a work in progress. I am, trying to do better as I try to educate others. I'm speaking to myself as well.
So I did realize during this COVID, kind of, us being locked in at home, I really identified and saw myself as a stress eater.
Yeah.
All too often I say, I don't even eat that much. Like, what am I not doing? Well, then I realized I stress eat. And what I usually stress eat, I go on a sweet and a salty. So I'm on like cakes and pies and all this. Yes. So you are my new, yes. We're going to say, Janice is my twin. Thank you, though. We're going to work on this. And then I do. And I go, I just want chips. And so I go on this back and forth. But then I find myself in the middle of the day, because I'm go, that I will go and did I have lunch today? Wait, did I? And I have to so here's I'll tell you one of the tricks that I've had to start doing because I'm this bad. Since I've been trying not to eat out for lunch, mainly because I just don't want to go and be around a lot of people. So I've been bringing my lunch more. So good for that. Thank you, Mama, because that's the only reason. And and you can pass this on.
Your mama prepare your stuff?
So when we started this keto thing,
you got it going on.
But look, let me tell you. I gotta tell you what happened. And look, and you can pass this on. I won't even call the name of who I'm gonna say this. I know, but I didn't want to call her name because I feel guilty, and so I didn't want you to tell her. I was like, maybe you'll tell somebody else and accidentally not tell on me. But so we started actually. My mom and I have had this conversation about, we got to do better, right? So it's been probably a year and a half now, maybe 2 years, that we said, okay, let's go on this keto journey. And we were both very I was gung-ho all in the beginning. And so my deal that I made with my mom, so I hired my mom to do my meal prep.
Girl, you better do that.
Yeah. So, and keeping the money going, right? And so I hired my mom. She does the meal prep. She was cooking for her already. So I paid for her to cook extra. She asked once a week, what do you want? So I give her the list. Here's what we're going to eat this week. And then she gives me my grocery bill, and then we pay her extra.
Girl,
I pick it up.
I'm talking about.
It worked. It's the only way I was able to actually fit it in my life. So what I've started doing is that I'll pack all 5 meals, bring them to the office during lunchtime. Well, sometimes I forget, did I eat lunch today? And I go look in the refrigerator and I'm like, so it's Wednesday. There's Monday, Tuesday, should be 3 left. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there's 3 left. I didn't eat lunch today. That's bad, but I'm that person, right? And so do we have cheat days? Yes. And well, here's what I noticed again, going back to us being at COVID and staying at home. I noticed being at home more, not that it was more stressful, but when I had stressful peaks is what stood out, because actually my stress went down a good bit because I wasn't in the craziness and the hassle of it all. So here's my other warning. You said, say no. My other warning. If you want me to join your board or anything right now, no, I can't. I got too much going on. I need to sit something else aside. So here's my official answer for everything. Michelle, will you? No. If you're not a client coming in my office, and even then, there's some things I'm going to tell you, no, we're not going to do that. Because some of that is I'm going to say we, when I really mean you. Stop shopping because I can't control what you got going. I can't. So
Mhm.
I've had to have the self-aware moments like you mentioned. So you're absolutely
Yes.
right.
I've been saying no a little bit more often
So,
now. Mhm.
so I'm glad to hear it. It is lethargic. It feels very good to get to that point. I have to admit. So,
Yeah. And I
oh,
have to, something that we have to stop saying too, Michelle, is,
mhm,
oh, I'm just so busy. I'm just so
mm,
busy. I'm allergic to saying, not allergic. I guess I know I'm not allergic, but I am addicted. That's the word.
mm,
Addicted to saying that. Like,
yes.
oh, I'm so busy. So everyone's like, oh, yeah, she's so busy. And I'm like, well, am I really that busy? So stop putting it out in the universe. That's for
Mm,
me
yes.
because I
Yes.
think people will make time for what they want to do.
That is very true.
So I have to stop saying that
Yes.
and making time for what I want to do, not what you think I need to be doing for you.
Oh, very good point. You're absolutely correct. I have really enjoyed this new environment, this new normal. Now, while I hope the pandemic something subsides and we as a people get better on how we even interact with each other in that space. The not having to go out to meetings all the time has been very interesting for me. The one thing, Robert and I joked, like we've spent every evening together since we've been dating, right? Like every single evening.
Oh, wow.
Usually, and like since Juneteenth has started, this has probably been the latest that I've not been at home because I just work late at the office. But I had started going home like right at 5. I was like, you know what? Nope, going home at 5. So,
Mhm.
but we were having dinner together. We actually got to spend time together before it's like, woo, he earned like 9:30, 10 o'clock. We done.
Yeah.
And so it's been really interesting spending that time in that space. But then I was like, all these other little projects and things that I thought about doing, my Pinterest board looks amazing. However, I never would do any of those things. And so but you've convinced me when I get home tonight, I'm actually gonna check my blood pressure and I'm gonna just start a little chart and see what my blood pressure is for the next 30 days just to
Yeah,
see.
you really should, as an African American woman, we should know our numbers. When you
Mm,
you said, what do I need to know when I go to the doctor? What do I need to ask? What my numbers are. As an
mm,
African American woman, we need to know what our blood pressure is, what the top number is, and what the bottom is, and what it means for us. Okay.
ah,
We also need to know what our kidneys numbers are because African Americans are higher risk for having comorbidities such as chronic kidney disease. So if we know what our creatinine is, then we can that tells us what our kidney functions are.
okay, creatinine. I'm writing this down because I
Yeah.
told you don't stick, y'all. I'll get out and I was like, she said some funny word and I don't know. So
Yeah,
creatinine,
we
got
want
it.
to
I'm
know
writing it.
what your kidney function is.
Okay.
Okay. And those are just three numbers that I think is very important. And you also should know your weight
Mm.
and what your recommended weight is for you, not the other chart that say, they weight, our weight, you
Where is
know.
that chart at? Because I will, again, full confession, I have definitely gained the COVID-19 pounds,
Oh, I,
right?
I did the COVID-19 plus one, 20. Mhm.
So we're working on it. So where can I find the other chart? Because I do see, and I see charts and I'm like, I don't even want to weigh that. Now that's too small. Where's the accurate one for me as a black woman? Where would I find it or what's it called?
When your hypertension is normal and your
Hmm.
creatinine is normal, then that's a good weight for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. When you're not
Hmm.
on any blood pressure medications and when you're not needing anything, but talking to your physician and
Ah,
letting them guide you safely to a good weight is what is important.
okay. I can get with that. And I will
Mhm.
say thank you, Lord, again, me and Dr. Bob, because she was like, this number every year is kind of teaching up. We need to work on this. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So that's again how we got to keto. And then thank you to your aunt, because Lord knows she is an angel because she had to deal with me.
She the
And
keto queen,
she
honey.
is, but she would give me little tips and tricks. And the one thing I will say, and even you guys watching this now, that because I knew sweets was my weakness when I realized like, I actually do stress eat, and it's usually sweet stuff. They would introduce recipes, and so I have a whole Pinterest board that is about your different keto recipes. And so we would spend time like family time and just trying to recreate recipes. Some things we like, some things we didn't. My mom does an amazing lemon pound cake now that's fully keto. Robert makes an amazing cheesecake that is keto that you would not know is keto.
Oh,
Because
y'all
it's
got
all
it
about
going on over
yeah,
there.
it's been awesome. That's why I'm like, I know I could do better. It's me. I'm the problem. Because again, but notice
Wow.
my key word, my mama and Robert. They're in the kitchen more than I am. I'm the workaholic in the family. When I get stressed, I hide in work and then I eat. So they, but there are certain things that we can do, and it's been really helpful in that space. But your aunt really was like, she made sure that I knew my numbers and understood. So we would talk through this, and when we were at the clinic, we would talk through it. And then now I don't have her to hold me accountable because she was the one that made me. And she would always tell me my stuff. And my mom and I were going at the same time, and so she was like, "You gonna call your mama?" Because she knew I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call her when I get in the car." Dang. So, and then I know she checked my mama. Did Michelle call you?
Yeah, that
Because
was
I
a
gave her
great
permission.
program,
Mhm.
keto program at the health department, and they
Yes.
don't have that anymore. But she is, I'm like this. She
I
always on
lost
me, but I'm
20
gonna do better.
pounds when I did it.
You told me.
I was like, so yeah, we're back in hardcore keto mode.
Oh,
That's the
that's
long and short of it.
awesome.
We
That's
are back there.
good. That's
So yeah,
good. But it's great that you have that support
yes.
with your mom able to do that. That's
I've been trying
awesome.
to convince her it's Wealth Building Wednesday. I've been trying to convince her to start doing keto meals for
That
folks.
would be awesome.
Um, we've gotten to the point because Robert will eat keto. Let me be very clear. Robert is very supportive, so he'll eat keto food with me, right? Um,
Oh,
yeah, it's amazing. So she cooks dinner for both of us, which saves a whole lot of time. But he stopped eating meat years before this, so he'll eat fish. He's a pescatarian, and it's funny because her collard greens, you cannot tell the difference. Like she's mastered the collard greens so well without any meat
neat.
in them
Wow.
that we don't even know the difference anymore. Like I couldn't tell you. I've been to like a restaurant, but this is pre lockdown, and I was like, "Oh, mama collard greens taste better than these." And she's doing it
Girl.
without meat, and so it's really interesting, just what you really can do with food when we actually learn food.
Yes, because I don't
And
eat
then,
meat either. I stopped
mm,
last July.
nice.
So and I did it for my health reasons. I wanted to detox.
Mm,
And so I was having a lot of inflammation, a lot of back pain, knees, all this extra weight and stuff. But I see a chiropractor as well. And as
mm,
he shared, and I probably knew this anyway, but my stress, when I get stressed out, it goes directly, that inflammation flares up in my back and my, girl, we're twins.
twin.
I told
Yes.
you. Okay, we're twins.
Oh.
So I said, I had done some reading or whatnot. And I'm like, let me work on, because I knew my inflammation markers were high because of when I had gone through the keto program.
Mhm.
So I'm like, let me just flush my body out, detox off the meat and see how it goes. Man, that first 2-3 days, I thought I was gonna, I was so freaking, yeah. So once I got through that period, my body felt amazing. I was having no aches and pains and issues and GI issues that I was having before. So I've kind of, fell off the wagon maybe 1 or 2 times, with peer pressure from my family, because they like, you eat meat, you need
Mhm.
to eat meat.
Yes.
But other than that, it's been great. But just trying to be creative and eat things that are appetizing or interesting is hard, because I'm
Right.
allergic to fish and shellfish.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, that's a struggle. Turned 40, honey, and it went the hell in a handbasket.
Lord, please don't let that happen. Please, please, please. Because I love seafood. I love seafood. So it works for our being a pescatarian, right? I love seafood. I will say, but for me, the inflammation I noticed with keto, which oddly enough, I didn't notice. It was when I was going to the program and I was listening and being supportive of my mom, because sometimes I ain't got time to go to classes, but I would go with my mom, and that was our support team. And listening to one of the ladies talk about her arthritis decreasing because she wasn't taking in the sugar. And then my mom made comment. She's like, "Yeah, mine haven't been acting up either." And I said, "You know what? My back hasn't been as tense, like that little stinging pain that comes." I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Huh." I said, "Maybe there's something there." And whenever I've noticed, whenever my mom and I are the same, whenever we have that cheat day, that you go eat sugar, the cake, or whatever, it comes back. 2, 3 days later, if you do good, you're back fine. So you're right, the inflammation is there But and so it really is, I have heard you loud and clear, and I hope everyone else did. It really is important to know your numbers and understand how your body reacts to certain things, because a lot of the things that we just say are familiar, because that's the first thing. Well, high blood pressure running our family.
Mm-hmm.
No, the eating habits run in our family. Let's be clear. It's not the blood pressure. It's the eating habits that run in our family.
Eating habits. The ham hocks and
Yes.
the pig's feet and eating bread with every meal and cornbread and fried chicken. Yeah, it's the eating habits that we do. But that's what we grew up on and what we thought was what we needed.
Juneteenth, full circle.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So what the slaves had left over, and we gonna make anything taste good. So enslaved people learn how to make ham hocks. Tastes really good. We learn how to put the extra stuff together to make it work.
And not using salt. That's huge. And I have a reaction. I can walk by a bottle of salt and I'm swollen. So,
Wow.
we have to learn that we don't have to use salt, or we don't have to add salt to while we're cooking. We can use Mrs. Dash and other things that are flavorful. And, I used to be the first thing I do, just years ago, pour salt. I could just look at it and say, oh yeah, it needs some salt on. I can tell you that right now. But I don't do that. And like my grandmother had kidney disease. I don't know if people knew she had been on dialysis, and then we were doing peritoneal dialysis with her towards the end.
Wow.
And so
you are my twin. My grandmother had renal cancer or kidney cancer. So
yeah,
gosh, you are my twin.
So, understanding what your family history is very important. When you go to the doctor, they're going to do a history or not examination, but they're going to interview you and they're going to ask what your family history is. It's very important. We need to know that as African Americans. We need to be able to relay that, but we need to also know what we don't need to be doing at home. And one more number that's important for us to know: if you're not a diabetic, you need to have at least a hemoglobin A1C done at least once a year. What that does, that number lets us know what your blood sugar levels have been running over the previous 90 days. And so then that's how we get if we are pre-diabetic or whatnot. So knowing that information, when we get a physical, truly get a physical, because those numbers are important, and we should be doing preventative things along the way, so that when we're 50 and 60 years old, we're not having to deal with our lifestyle from previous.
Oh my gosh. So I have to tell you this, because these two things are married to each other, really. In my profession, when we're talking about life insurance with folks, and I've just, as a personal observation, what I've been noting. And so when I'm talking to my clients about life insurance, I tell them, at some point, because retirement most of the time is while people are sitting in front of me. They're talking about, I'm tired of these folks, I want to retire. And so those are conversations we're usually having, right? And as people get closer to it, we have to also have that conversation about life insurance and protection. And I always say, I'm going to be very honest with you. My white clients, typically we're having that conversation early 60s, mid 60s. My black clients, we're having that conversations early 50s, mid 50s. And it's usually because their numbers are going to be a lot worse. The premiums may cost more. And this is, again, just my observation. I'm like, something's different. What's happening here? And so if we're having all these issues, so I'm taking this healthcare conversation and transferring over to their financial situation. You're going to pay more for life insurance, or may not be able to qualify for it, or long-term care because of your health conditions and things you're doing right now. We have to be preventative, and we have to start early on. Yeah. And knowing this makes so much difference as we kind of go through the trajectory of life. So I've taken notes, and if you don't believe me, look, I've been taking notes.
And I know you said something earlier about, you have health insurance. And I know that with a lot of stuff that's going on now, people don't have health insurance. And typically as African Americans, we wait to when it's too late to try to get help for something that we should have been taken care of long ago. But typically because we didn't have the money and we didn't have the insurance. But there are locations in different places that you can go that will work with you on payment. They might get federal funds to help you, to help take care of people that don't have access to healthcare. They're called federally qualified healthcare centers.
Okay.
FQHC, we have 2 in the area. The neighborhood health center is 1. And then we have, what is the other place on 29? MedLink.
Mm. Okay.
MedLink, they have a lot of locations, but they get federal funds to help discount the cost for people so you can have access, because that's the big issue with the African American population is access to healthcare. And so they, you can go, some of them, MedLink has a dental office in Commerce.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they give, you can get dental care to reduce costs. And you have, some have pharmacies, so you can get your medication at a reduced cost as well, which is great. But there are a lot of, those are a lot of hidden things that are in our community, but are there to help people that don't have the opportunity or the privilege of having healthcare, even though I believe healthcare is a right.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. As I used to travel a lot, there are several things that I always, and I'm the person, it's funny, and no knock to the bus and the transit system here. I don't know how to ride public transportation in Athens. I haven't had to, right? I have the privilege of having a car. But whenever I travel to other cities, that's one of the first things I do. That's how I toured the city on my own. I'll get on whatever their public transit is, and I'll just go and ride around. And I would, I'm like, if I get lost, I used to be in catch a cab. Now I get an Uber back to my hotel, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm that person. And the one thing I can always tell that when I'm in a majority Black neighborhood, because I would always see a lot of churches, a lot of check cashing places. Now I start seeing a lot of dialysis centers.
Oh, yes.
And they're popping up everywhere. And that's, like I said, how I know when I'm typically in an area that's close to or in a Black neighborhood. And this is outside the liquor stores, because I put them with the check cash places a lot of times. And it's like, so this talk with you has kind of opened my eyes to why. Because I was like, why are there so many dialysis places there? And that's interesting.
Yeah.
But now I know, because here we are.
And we need to think about it. Yeah, they put those in there because we're the people that particularly are utilizing those facilities. But when you think about it, it's because over the years, we've only been able to eat what we knew and what we had access to.
Yep.
So we didn't necessarily have access to fresh vegetables
Yep.
and those type of things, which we should be indulging in right now. But still, we don't have access to fresh fruits and foods and vegetables in our own neighborhoods. So that is something that I think that people in the community are working on. But you know, what's wrong with throwing some things in the backyard, growing your own stuff too?
So we have started doing that on our Coronacation. Yeah, Coronacation has provided. So we are planting, and so we plant them in buckets and like big barrels, because I'm like, oh, I'm on the ground, you know, that whole thing. So we have like lettuce and spinach in one area, eggplants and tomatoes and cucumbers and squash. So, and my lemon tree is still growing. I was on,
wow.
Yeah, Tommy Valentine interviewed me several weeks ago, and I was talking about some of the things and habits I was trying to do, and talking about my little lemon tree. So it is outside, and it is grown. It's probably about 3 feet tall now. So hopefully it's pollinating. So yeah, I drink a lot of lemon water. I drink lemon water. I drink coffee all morning, and in the afternoon I switch to tea and lemon water. So yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna grow the things I eat.
We need to do that. And you know, one of the other things I wanted to I always say I want to do in our city, but we need to just, you know, make sure that our people have access to that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they're quick to throw a Family Dollar, or Dollar General, but do they sell fresh fruits and vegetables?
Typically, no.
No.
And here's the one thing because some of the things I hear people say all the time, it's so expensive to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. And I was like, is it not more expensive to go to the doctor?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And the thing is, people don't understand food. What we put in our bodies is very important in relation to our health. It is so very important. But, you know, if you only have fried chicken and French fries and hot dogs and hamburgers to put in your body, or spam or whatever, but that's all you have, you know, it's gonna take a hit, because those things, when we eat canned goods. They're packaged in salt.
Yep.
You know, and so if you're eating canned goods, because that's all you have access to, it's okay. Rinse that stuff out 3 times. Like, you know, put water in the can and pour it out to get some of that sodium out of it. But it's about education and but you know, we do with what we have, but we need to encourage people to take the extra steps. And when you go to the grocery store, look at not necessarily the canned foods, but go to the fresh food aisle or area.
Yeah, I know they always say, I used to, and all of the diet books and even the keto class, they would say, shop the perimeter of the store. Don't even go in the middle aisles. Shop everything on the
Processed
outside.
stuff in the middle of the
Yeah,
aisle.
because the processed stuff is in the middle. They need to be refrigerated, so it makes sense. The other thing I'll even say that I just thinking about this is that we have to. When you said education, I was thinking this is where your children come in. You control what they eat from day one. And so if your children don't know what an eggplant is, it's because they've never seen one and never been exposed to one, right? Which also means they're probably not going to try because, you know, I don't eat that. And kids are notorious already for not eating that. But I have a friend that I remember watching her daughter, like her daughter loved fruits and vegetables. But that was always the only snacks that she even kept in the house for her. And I was like, I don't even think I even knew what, you know, a carrot looked like as a kid. Like, I don't like carrots to this day.
I
just
like
don't.
Either.
I don't. See, you my twin. To this day, I just don't. But you know what? But over the years, I've tried, and my family, they're like, Shay, you're the weird one. You try anything. And I am. I'm that person. I really will. But I know I have too many cousins that all they, and I won't call my cousin out now. I won't call her name, but she knows who she is. And her mama probably watching because her mama been texting me every week that only eats chicken strips and french fries. Her son, that's all he eats. Chicken strips. And I was like, what? It was like Thanksgiving, and he had chicken strips and french fries.
You know, that's a habit, and you do that over the years, forever. And then at 42 years old, he's having a stroke. Not putting that on him. I'm just saying a male in general doing that. We're having a stroke earlier because of the things that we do continuous.
Yeah, but when you said education, that he jumped out in my mind because I'm like, wow, you're right. That's a trained behavior because that's what he knows and what has been okay. And what does that do?
Eat anything else, but that's all that he was introduced to.
Yeah, and it was early on. So I mean, he's in middle school now, and still the same way. That kids usually grow out of it, and so it's kind of scary when you think about that from the long-term healthcare needs. But the scary thing is that that's also why your industry is growing, and why people are why we need more folks in that space because we are doing that and leading that industry. And so while it's scary, I will say thank you so much for educating me, if nothing else, but hopefully someone else has some good tips to take along the way. So Dr. Shanice Allen of Innovative Healthcare Institute, I say thank you on behalf of Northeast Georgia Business Alliance.
Well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I enjoyed today.
So we were so glad to have you. And thank you for making our 19 days of Juneteenth so special with our Wealth Building Wednesday. And as you can see, our conversation today was around healthcare as a career path, but also even some things that we should be doing too. So make sure you join us the rest of the week. Again, Thrive Thursday, we have Robert Tucker joining us, talking about depression and some of our generational habits and practices that we hopefully will break. Figured Out Friday with Dr. Joan Collier, when we have our Dear White People segment. And then we'll have Saturday with Say It Saturday, and we will have our very own Celeste Negeve, who will be joining us talking about self-care for Say It Saturday. Awesome. This week's movie, I'll go ahead and warn everybody, because this movie is going to be kind of it's a multifaceted. We're just going to watch the first episode. Our Netflix watch party for Soulful Sunday is going to be They've Gotta Have Us on Netflix. It is a multi-series talking about the entertainment industry because we're going to end our last week of Juneteenth on a much more of a celebratory note. And so They've Gotta Have Us. So you'll get all the information about the healthcare. I said the healthcare. You got all the positive things about the entertainment industry. We're going to watch the first episode on our Netflix watch party. So you can find the link for that on Sunday. We'll be sharing it out. So we look forward to having you join us for that too. So take care, everybody. We say thank you, thank you, thank you. Here are a list of all of our sponsors. Please make sure you support some of our businesses that are listed on there. I see Innovative Healthcare Institute is yay right there on the, and then look right next to me, my twin, you're right next to me on the
All right,
PowerPoint slide, and I didn't even do it. We are here. I love it. And we would be talking to ourselves if it was not for the narrative. So thank you so much, Nicole, for keeping us together on that side. And as always, with Rashi's Cuisine, Culinary Kitchen, Shalice is Heavily Inspired. MOB Athens, if you are not listed on MOB Athens, please, please, please make sure that you go in, list yourself. There's only $1. That is it, just to be listed. And the dollar is there to keep all of our trolls away. It has nothing to do with the cost that we need. They don't pay $1 to come bother us. But make sure you list your business there. So as people in this time are wanting to support more minority-owned businesses, we want to make sure we can tell them how to find you. On behalf of the Business Alliance, I say thank you all for joining us. See you all tomorrow at 6/19, Juneteenth, when we do it all over again for our 19 days of Juneteenth. Thank you so much, Dr. Allen.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Good
bye,
night.
twin. Good night.
Bye, twin.